Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse. Today we're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're just going to be looking at the recent move briefly. If you guys like the content, please subscribe to the channel. If you guys want to talk about Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies, check out the Telegram channel that you can see right here or you can find in the description below. The reason we're talking about this is because Bitcoin is at a crossroads in a sense. It's right at that 100-week moving average. If you remember, if you go back a couple weeks when we were at the 200-week moving average and we made this move, we said that we were likely heading to the 100-week as it tends to oscillate between these two, it tends to oscillate between several different moving averages, but clearly the 200-week and the 100-week are quite notable. And now that we're at the 100-week moving average, I would say that Bitcoin is eyeing the 20-week. Now, it's unclear what direction we're going to go. Remember, going above it or slightly below it isn't really that significant. As we say, what's a few $100s among friends? It doesn't always take a lot of money to move the price in the short term. But we can note that certainly Bitcoin is eyeing the 20-week. It's not that far away. If we were to take a measured move to look how far away it is, approximately just from the middle of the candle, it's about a 10% move upwards. If on the other hand we were to drop back down to the 200-week moving average, we're talking about a 20% drop. Now, if we were to go back in time and look at what happened when Bitcoin dropped below the 100-week, this is just the evidence for saying why the 200-week would be kind of our next target if we were to start to really drop. The last time you can see that we dropped below the 100-week, we went straight to the 200-week. And again here, we dropped below the 100-week, straight to the 200-week. If we go back even further in time, you can see here, we dropped below the 100-week back in 2014, came down to the 200-week. So from the 100 to the 200. And then obviously we know the 20-week holds resistance until we're in a bull market, and then it holds support. So then now you can see the price of Bitcoin under the 20-week for basically the entire bear market. When we finally got to the 20-week and broke it, that was when we saw a crazy move in a very short period of time. Bitcoin went from that point, it went up at the peak, it went up around 250% from that moving, or from the 20-week moving average over the course of around 100 days. So that was a significant move. We've noted many times that if we drop below the 20-week, it's typically a bad drop. The first time we did it in this market cycle was in September of 2019. We dropped straight to the 100-week moving average. The second time we dropped through it, we dropped straight to the 200-week moving average with a wick to the 300-week moving average. So dropping below the 20-week typically is bad, and when it can be really bad. And when it happens, we see that even though the price of Bitcoin is falling, the dominance is going up, and that's why I say historically, consolidating into Bitcoin and stable coins during that time is typically a good idea. Now, sometimes I'll get questions, well, what about today where, Ethereum did better than Bitcoin or this other coin did better than Bitcoin? There's always going to be times in history where there's going to be certain days that one coin or a number of coins could outperform Bitcoin when it's below the 20-week. More or less, though, if, this is not financial advice, obviously, this is what I do. More or less, though, when Bitcoin does drop below the 20-week, by the time that it gets back to the 20-week, if you had sold or if you had, say, converted your altcoins into Bitcoin, and I'm not necessarily including Ethereum. I think Ethereum is in a class of its own. But if historically, if you were to just convert your altcoins into Bitcoin into stable coins, and then you were to convert back when it reaches the 20-week moving average again, then a lot of times you'd be doing better off. Now, clearly you can find some cases where if you're holding some altcoin that just explodes during a downtime for Bitcoin, you can find a counterpoint. And my point to you is that no one knows which coins those are going to be. And while the strategy of just looking at the 20-week might not always net you the most amount of money, it does seem to me to be a stress. It reduces the amount of stress that you're dealing with in terms of trying to manage 20 different altcoin positions, and usually it ends up working out better anyways. So that's the point. So just keep that in mind. And we did mention, I don't like to comment about too many different coins on my Bitcoin videos, but if you follow some of the other videos, we do follow primarily Bitcoin when it's below the 20 week, and we also follow Ethereum a little bit as well. And we noted that if Bitcoin got to the 100 week, we would expect a small move with Ethereum. We saw that. I think a much bigger move for Ethereum would come after Bitcoin, say, gets above the 20 week. I think we would see a much stronger move from Ethereum. So Bitcoin, what today? It's either going to go, in my opinion, it's either going to be going to the 20 week or the 200 week. And, I'm sure there's some people saying, well, of course, yeah, it's not necessarily that much of a risk to say, because at some point it's going to go to one of them. It's just a matter of which one. And with Bitcoin moving so quickly, it could happen in a very short period of time. So while we don't know what is going to happen, we'll be ready for whatever does happen. Because if you start to see these candles go down, then just be aware that the likely target is the 200-week moving average. So just so you know, if you see us start to go down to say like $6,500, $6,300, something like that, then there's a good chance that we're going down to 5,600, 5,700. Obviously, there's not a guarantee, but the past evidence would suggest that getting rejected by the 100 week or going down below the 100 week, that the 200 week is the next area of support. If we were to say move above the 100 week, say we get up to say $7,500, then there's a fairly good chance we're going to at least get to $7,800 and test that. And the last time that we went above, you can see over here when we went to the 100 week, we popped back up and we held the 20 week as resistance. So just because we get to this point does not mean we're going to go above it and then confidence is going to return to the market. If confidence returns to the market as a whole, I think it's going to be somewhere up here in the $8,000 range. I think that would be where you start to see people maybe pouring more money into a lot of different cryptocurrencies, maybe moving some Bitcoin into other coins. But for the time being, I think Bitcoin is one of the best places to be, not because if Bitcoin goes up, it'll necessarily go up, more than other coins. I think we already saw that when it went from the 200 week to the 100 week. Bitcoin did outperform a lot of coins, and if you were to look at say from the 20 week here to here, your Bitcoin ratio, let's say you had a lot of altcoins and you had converted them to Bitcoin, and then you were converting back even now, I think you would actually be able to get a lot more altcoins for whatever you sold them for back when Bitcoin dropped below the 20 week. I'm sure someone's going to point out a counterpoint to that, which is fine. But in general, that is the case. So the reason why I say the 20 week is because it's some way to manage your risk, because there's obviously a chance that, while a lot of people think, well, if Bitcoin does go up, then of course other coins are probably going to continue to pump as well. But in terms of risk management, what if Bitcoin doesn't go up? What if we go back down to the 200 week? If that's the case, then other coins are likely going to dump harder than Bitcoin. That's just a proven fact. And if you look at historical data, obviously there's going to be counterpoints, a few here, a few there, of coins that may behave a little bit differently. But for the most part, the cryptocurrency market as a whole, Bitcoin dominance will go up during a sell-off, especially below the 20-week moving average. If there's a sell-off, if the price of Bitcoin were way much higher and price were going down, then that doesn't necessarily mean that Bitcoin dominance is going up. It could just mean that Bitcoin went through a run and now it's other coins are gonna shine for a little bit. But right now, for me, I'm mostly in Bitcoin, stable coins, and a little bit of Ethereum. So I hope this video is informative for everyone. Again, if you like the content, please subscribe to the channel and come talk about the stuff in Telegram. I do post TradingView videos, somewhat frequently, but I also like to post a lot of other videos like the evidence for lengthening cycles, which has, a ton of different custom graphs that I've made. We post a lot of different videos. We even posted one the other day on the hash rate versus price. I find that the more time I spend on preparing a video, the fewer views it gets, because at the end of the day, I think the majority of people just want to see is they just want to see this chart, which is fine. But we're gonna continue to do the other charts as well, just because there is an audience for that, even if the audience for this kind of stuff is much bigger. Um, so again, if you guys like the content, subscribe. We do have some premium content for those who want to support the channel. You can find that in the description below. But for everyone else, then feel free to follow along, give it a like if you guys like the content, and I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.